All right, what's up? Tim Sykes here, episode of Twist, while giving a live webinar after Bryce just shotgunned 2 energy drinks, with Jack 2 meeting everybody for the first time, after Matt Monaco just came back from the spa, Kyle Williams just had some guacamole and carrots, and we are here talking about the markets. We're each up. How much are you up today?
5,700.
How much?
2,500.
I'm up about 5,100.
Ooh, 1,200.
1,200?
5,500.
All right, get out. You haven't earned this. No, today's been a good day. I'm giving the live webinar. Literally, I'm looking at this webinar as we're doing this. I think the biggest thing that I want to start out by saying is it doesn't seem that impressive to make, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 a day. Like, obviously, keep things in perspective. Outsiders, I would love to make that. Real traders on Wall Street, they're like, who are these jokers making $2,000, $3,000 a day? And yet, all of us, except Bryce, are millionaires, okay? So there's something going on here. It's okay. You've made the most today, so you're aggressive. He also shotgunned 2 energy drinks just now, which I can't do. So it's having the right perspective. A few $1,000s a day adds up. Leave that comment underneath this video if you understand that small gains add up. It's not necessarily the best day for any of us, right? Maybe this is your best day ever.
No. I wish.
It's close. What's your biggest day ever?
50,000.
Back in February, yeah.
February, yeah.
To be fair, big disclaimer, put a big asterisk. This is back in January, February when everything was going crazy. It's not our best day, but we're taking our little trades. We're learning. This guy just flew in from 5 a.m. Chairs are breaking. Microphones are breaking. Was that a microphone?
No, it's phone.
Oh, I thought you farted. I was like, I didn't know what that was. I was like, yeah, the microphone's breaking. But no, we're trying different stuff. People are saying small gains add up here. I was talking to this camera, not, there's multiple cameras. We're not live streaming on YouTube right now because it's just too complicated. We're not that smart. But feel free to ask any questions. There is no link. You guys are on the webinar. This is as good as it gets right now. You can watch us on video later, right? Yeah. We can't live stream this, can we?
That's too complex.
Yeah, that's way too complicated. Anyways, give a little summary. We'll go one by one. We're filming this at the end of June 2021. Kyle, what's your take on the market right now? What's your plan? And kind of give a monthly recap. I think that's good for a lot of people.
Yeah, the first week, I don't know. I know for a few traders, the first week with the AMC meme stock madness really kicked it off. That was my best week ever at I think it made 240,000. It's best week ever, which is really, really good to see. Good to feel really good about it. But in the last 3 weeks of June, I've been pretty much break even to maybe up 5K after today. I was break even until today for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So the market's a little more choppier for me. Still plays. I think I'm excited about MRIN. I'm excited about LWLG. So there's definitely opportunities out there, and there's definitely things moving.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of what really moves the needle on my account is not there as of right now.
Cool.
So just on the prowl for more opportunities.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I took it pretty slow last month in May. Didn't really trade much. But then this month I picked it back up, but I only traded really the first hour or so. And then I watched the market the rest of the day, but I wasn't really in front of my screens trading. But just those slow gains, basically every single day they've added up. I'm up 48 to 49,000 this month so far. And basically just $2,000 days over and over again.
And to be fair, you graduated college last year.
Yeah, basically a year and a month ago.
So 48, 49,000 this month. How many massages and manicures have you had?
0.
That's a lot. You've had massages. You've had massages.
Last month.
Oh, not this month. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I think since you graduated college. I thought since you...
Comprehensive reading was tough for him. So
I didn't finish the hooked on phonics course. I did not finish the hooked on phonics course, okay?
All right. My summary, I don't even know what I'm up this month. I don't necessarily keep track of it like that. I try to take it one trade at a time. I want to say I'm up 20, 30K. It's interesting that I really don't know. I've gotten a little non-meticulous, 36,000. So that's more than I thought I was up. I thought I was up literally 25, 30. Last month was 40,000. I'm also traveling. I'm here just in Texas for a few days. you can slow down. Like you can live a little. It's like we are coming off the hottest market in decades. Every single one of these students, every single one of these traders has multiplied their wealth so fast. You know, everyone thinks that it's impossible, but it is not. It is possible. The problem is a lot of people made money in January, February, and late 2020, but most of them lost it. If you fall for the hype on ALPP, ABML, OZSC, ENZC, HMBL, all of those are down 60, 70, 80, 90%. Bitcoin's down 50% off the highs. None of us are down big percentages off our highs. Like you're right at your highs. Yep. I'm right at my highs. Yep. We're literally all at our highs, even if we're not necessarily making big money right now. The key is trying to pick and choose and be meticulous and try to stay near your highs. You don't have to go down with the ship. You don't have to lose 30, 50% just because the market, especially when there's like momentum, fades. I think it's really important to lock in profits. I usually lock in profits too soon. I mean, I was selling repo today. I was proud of myself for even chasing it at 18 and selling it at 24, and it went all the way up to 44. I mean, literally repo 4 to 44 in one day. Not even one day, in like 3 hours. So I underestimated it, but I'm proud I took like a little piece of that, and I learned from it. That's the key. It's not just about how much money we make. You're learning from this month. You're learning, like these guys are all new millionaires other than Bryce, and they're still dealing with their newfound wealth. But 6 figures to Bryce is like billions of dollars for everybody else. Because, like, you know, there's only so much money you can spend on like candy. Like he loves like Kit Kats and like lollipops, and he's like, I can buy billions of lollipops. Like, you know, so he basically is a millionaire for like a child, right? So, I don't know. That's my take. What's your take on the market right now? How much are you up this month?
I think I'm down like 20,000. But I mean, yeah, right now I'm just choked up on the bet. There's times where you should push and times just do nothing. And right now I'm doing nothing. Yeah.
You're definitely doing nothing. No. No, I mean, listen. You're over $2 million bucks. Yeah. Like, this is impressive. Your profit chart looks like one of these crazy supernovas that we trade. Usually they end pretty badly. So let's try to avoid that. You know, if I were you, I would size down. Oh, you haven't even uploaded your trades.
$0.
It's $0. But again, like all of you are in the position of just protecting what you've done the past few months. Like this is a new world. Like it's a new perspective. Like you got to get used to like spending some money. Like Matt, like stop like with the manicure so much. Like your nails are fine, dude. It's fine.
I bite my nails, so it's bad.
Okay, whatever works. What's your take on the market right now, man-child?
This is actually this is probably my most consistent month. I had my first red day of the month on Friday. I'm up about 80 grand though. I've just noticed there's been like a lot of failed follow through. Things aren't going. They're not continuing to run when I want to be in them. So I've just been getting out of trades a little bit quicker and taking the singles. The singles are adding up and starting to use a little more size as I just get a little bit more confident, but I'm having a good month this month.
What was your biggest winner this month?
My biggest winner, probably like $5,000, $6,000.
What?
VTNR, beginning of the month. Yeah, beginning of the month, and that's just been like small, not small, $1,000, $2,000 trades.
Yeah, and you haven't shaved since then. So you got like this porn stuff.
This is a yes or no. He just goes.
I'm waiting until.
You hit millionaire status? Is this like like sports teams do this? Like they don't shave until they win the World Series.
I won't shave until I have millionaire status. Yeah.
It's gonna get ugly, but whatever works. It's good. No, like we're in protection mode. Let's take some questions. Let's see. Did Monaco make it back from his massage?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I never went to a massage. I wish I did.
It's cool. How long do you guys test a new play before you toss it as not for you? Who wants that?
Like a new strategy?
Like a new setup?
Yeah. Like how long do you test like a new strategy or something before you're like, nah?
Well, I usually track it before I even trade it. And if I don't find an edge, then I won't even trade it. And if I find an edge, then I would trade it small size for at least maybe a month or two. Get a good sample size of trades. And if I'm making money, then scale it from there. I think if you lose enough setup, if you're tracking a setup and you find an edge and then you take like 5 trades and like say like 4 losers. That's such a small sample size. You probably need a month, 2 months at the minimum to really let an edge play out if it's there. Yeah. And it might need to be the wrong market. Like for example, like dip buys are working. They're working actually okay today. But the last 2 weeks they were pretty brutal. We had some like FNMA was pretty hard. DPLS was pretty tough. So right now the dip buys are a little bit tougher, but back in February, I mean, they were the most profitable setup I had. So it also depends what market environment you're in. And you just got to keep modulating, from there.
So you find different markets and you find how you react to different markets. There's two moving targets: what's working in the market and what's working for you. And it's kind of like, like in Top Gun, like you have the bullseye, like you're in a moving jet and the other one's like a moving jet and you're trying to line it up. That's basically like what this is. Yeah. And you have to always be trying to tinker because, like you said, dip buys, you might be great at dip buys. I'm great at dip buys. But until last week, dip buys weren't really hot. Last week, dip buys, were better for me, especially on WSRC. Sometimes it just takes one play. You had one play that basically is your whole month. AMC,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And aside from that, so the way to making a lot of money, you don't have to be consistent all the time. You don't have to know what's going on, what's the best play for you, what's working in the market. Sometimes there's just nothing. Sometimes it doesn't work for you. Go out, go live, grow a porn stash, whatever you want to do. Go get massages. Like, it's your life, right? Like, you don't have to be on all the time. Jack Kellogg usually joins us for Twitch. We don't even think he's awake yet because he's been traveling and now, he's got to recuperate from traveling, even though it was just like a 3-hour flight. But some people recuperate from travel differently. I don't even know what jet lag is anymore, right? I've evolved past jet lag. Let's see. Matt, how did you transition from OTC to listed setups, and what's holding you back from trading OTCs currently?
I actually traded listed before OTC. So it's kind of like a listed to OTC back to listed.
Okay.
The patterns I trade on both are very, very identical. Just kind of how the stocks trade is different. And the patience. You need a lot more patience with OTC stocks just because they move slower. So the transition wasn't terribly hard. It was just adjusting kind of my expectations. Because listed moves a lot faster. A lot of times my trades are a lot shorter. Like OTCs might be a 1-2 hour trade. I might be in a listed stock for like 3 minutes if it just instantly works. That's kind of the biggest one for me.
Cool. Quick question. How much did everybody start with? What were your accounts when you first began, Kyle?
A $6,000 e-trade account.
What did you start with?
My first account was $2,000, but for like 3 years I was not a good trader and lost money. I probably totally funded like $25,000 my own money.
You just kept throwing money after bad?
Yeah. Oh, I had to figure it out eventually. So I just kept making money outside the markets to fund my
What
trading
did you do
lifestyle.
outside the markets?
A bunch of random, just like small side hustles that built up over time. Nothing like crazy big or anything. But I was a college student at the time, so I really didn't have expenses. I just threw it all in my trading account.
But you're throwing good money after bad.
Right, but I had the long-term vision, and thankfully I was right, and I was dedicated
What
enough to
kept
stay
you
with
going? Because I just talked with Jack, and he literally made like nothing his first 3 years.
Right,
Like
same.
his friends and family are like, "This is a scam."
It was just seeing people like Kyle, Jack, Dom, Roland. They'd like throw down these crazy months, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? If they can do it, like, why can't I do it? So I just stuck with it, and every time it felt like I was like, man, like this sucks. I just keep losing all my money. There'd be like you'd have like a record month, and I was like, God damn it.
That's good. So get inspired by this, because all these guys literally got inspired by other people who were doing well. Get inspired by them. Starting with a few thousand. What did you start with?
I had a couple $2,000 accounts that I bled down.
Okay.
And then my last account was like 10,000.
Okay. So yeah, pretty much the same as him.
Yeah.
How much did you start with?
Same, $2,000, and once I kind of felt more comfortable, I put 10,000 in.
Okay.
When did you feel more comfortable?
2020. Yeah, that was when I told you I sized way down, traded like $2 risk, and then I had a couple of green months and put money in the market.
Okay. Quick question. A lot of you reference trading tickers as pivotal to your success. What's your favorite setup from Trading Tickers 1 or Trading Tickers 2? Who wants to take that?
For me as a short seller, like watching Tim Rutani have a trade plan from the short perspective, on the short side of like a first red day, that was huge. Like even Huddy says all the time, he would go back and like watch, an OTC short setup before, I think I forget what ticker was, but he had a few OTC short setups first red days, and Huddy would go back and watch those DVDs, that trade, like the night before he knew he wanted to short an OTC the very next day. I didn't do that as meticulously as Huddy did, but just from studying that particular setup, that's why like the OTC short setup is one of my favorites today. So for me.
OTC breakouts and just breakouts in general. Like that specific chapter of trading tickers, I've probably watched like 25 to 30 times, like that one. And that's why I'm a long bias trader.
So I actually learned what not to do from trading tickers because I don't have that patience. I have nightmares if I ever try to have that patience. I need my sleep. I get too little sleep as it is. So you don't have to be like any other trader, right? Like I have the confidence because frankly, I'm the one who taught Tim Grittani. He learned my patterns. He adapted to figure out what works best for him. These guys learn from Tim Grittani. They figure out what works best for them. You got to find what works for you. Okay, take a little something from every other trader before you and then say, okay, this worked for this person, this worked for this person, this works for me. You don't have to do the same exact thing. Like I don't feel any guilt whatsoever that I'm not patient like Tim Grittani. I know myself. I literally watched Trading Tickers 2 before I went to bed. I literally could not sleep. I had a nightmare that I was involved in a short squeeze. And, if I ever I haven't shorted in like a year and a half right now, but if I ever shorted, I would cut losses quickly. But I was in this nightmare where I could not get out. I was trying to have Tim Grittani patience, and my losses were just building and building. And I woke up in a sweat. We were in the San Diego rental. We're surprising Kyle when he passed $1 million. And I'm I'm not short. It's a dream.
Spin a little time.
Literally, yeah. It's like Inception. Come on, spin. I want to see my kids again. That's how I knew that wasn't for me. And yet, I don't regret watching it because I learned what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I know for a fact I don't ever want to be in that position. You shouldn't have nightmares about a strategy that you're utilizing. Okay? That's probably not the right strategy for you if you're having nightmares about it. What about you? What did you learn most from Trading Tickers 1 or 2?
Overextended gap down was my favorite, and then there was also shorting into failed spikers because I began building off of that pattern, and I've actually built it into an incredible system for shorting.
Cool. How about you, Bryce?
Same as Matt, breakouts.
Yeah, you have no original thoughts. Let's see.
Thanks.
K2 Lockett says, what is the hardest lesson? How has it affected your trading today? We'll start with Manchild.
What? Can you repeat the question? I know.
What is the hardest lesson and how has it affected you and your learning disabilities?
Really said that?
I'm just repeating the question.
My hardest lesson was actually shorting front side with a lot of size was something I did not have any data on. Basically, everything I could have done wrong, I did wrong. Didn't cut losses quickly. I was like, I'm right. It's going to work. Didn't have a risk level. And I found myself 10,000 shares short of a stock that was up $1 past my average. And that, one, deterred me from shorting. Two, made sure I had a risk level, a worst case scenario risk level on every play. And taught me I need to really control my size and need to have an edge before I enter a play. I think I might have shorted 1 or 2 stocks since then.
What was your hardest lesson?
Hardest lesson for me was learning to be wrong, because I used to have just a painstakingly shake whenever I would get into a position because I didn't want to lose money. I just had such an adverse reaction to trading. And you have to learn to just lose money, because that's why you take on risk and that's why you're able to make money.
You learn to lose small amounts of money.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to lose. A lot of newbies think you lost money, bad trade. I look at it as sometimes I lose money, the trade didn't work out, maybe I was too early, too late, the news didn't play out, whatever. But if I lose small, it's not that bad. It doesn't, literally all of us, even you're having a red month, after making $2 million, but it's barely small compared to the rest of your gains. So some people will be like, oh, you had a red month. Oh, you had a red day. That's terrible. Promoters will say this, when there's a promotion going on and they're like, oh, look at Tim Sykes and his students. They lost on this. We're up 200 grand because they're part of the pump. Okay. It's comparing apples to oranges. Losing small is important. I think my hardest lesson probably was year 2000. When I first I had made my first 700,000 first 4 months of the year. I thought I was gonna be a billionaire. I'm extrapolating. If I do this every 4 months with compounding, I should have $1 billion inside of 6 years. I'm comparing myself okay, 4 months, let me multiply that by 3. This is my yearly income. Let me compare myself to NBA players. I'm okay, I can make $2.8 million per year. I'd be okay with that. Meanwhile, the market crashed. No more breakouts. I lost 10 grand the last 8 months of the year. All my extrapolations, all my billionaire dreams washed away. And it was a good wake-up call because you might make some money on one stock, one pattern, one market, and then everything changes. The key is adapting. And then basically I made my second million short selling. Still part of the 7-step framework, but instead of buying breakouts, I was short selling. And now I've moved on to the next thing. Instead of short selling, I dip buy the panics. Sometimes I still do the breakouts. Don't really short it all anymore. But different markets have different strategies, and you must adapt. That is what trading is all about. Okay, so some people are like, yesterday you were long, today you're short. I see this with some traders. And they're like, you're a flip-flopper, like you're a politician, like going against your own beliefs. No, you're a trader. You're trading an asset. The problem is these promoters don't want anybody to sell. These promoters don't want anything other than the story that they're selling out there. Like, this company is changing the world. How dare you sell? I saw during the run-ups, like in January, February, March, promoters were saying, like, the only people who sell are weak. Right? Like, if you're selling, you're weak. It doesn't matter if you're taking profits. Doesn't matter if you're locking it in. Doesn't matter if you're selling even a third. If you sell, you're weak. All of those promotions, all of those stocks where the promoter said you're weak, all of them have crashed. Yeah. Big. So whenever you see somebody worried if you're selling or not, you got to be worried that this is a house of cards and they don't want too many people selling all at once. Mm-hmm. What's your hardest lesson?
Very similar to Jack's. It'd just be like, just cut the loss. For me, the hardest thing I had to overcome was just like the big losses that would like either wipe out your day's gains or week's gains. And like as soon as you just took that out of the equation and you just made sure all your losses were the same and uniform, at that point is when I really got to profitability. And still, like to this day, like I like took last month off more or less. Look at this guy.
He's trying to sneak in the phone. You're having a red month. You lost phone access. Whatever you do, you'll probably just lose. It's not worth it.
Right.
No,
I got a buzz. No, so I was saying, like, the first, like, I really didn't trade much last month. And then I came back in the first week of June. Should have been a great week. I had a ton of big winners, but also a ton of big losers. And, like, that habit came back. And I've just kind of, like, recalibrated. And just as soon as you cut those big losses out of the equation, you're just much, much better off.
Yeah. I think my biggest obstacle is something I still deal with is, like, not necessarily cutting losses, but accepting the emotionality behind losses. Like when I had my first, or my red, the second week of June was my red week for me. It was the biggest red week dollar-wise, but it was like $500 more than my first red week. So it was like 10. I lost like 10 grand for the week, and it felt like I just gave back my month, even though I was still up 230 grand. You know, like so, like emotionally and logically, I know, and it's kind of a good problem to have because like that's why when I look at my like profit lead curve, it's like very very little pullbacks, which is good, but in the short term, like 1 week, 2 week periods where I'm like emotionally thinking about it, I feel like it's over. Like it's like, oh, it's just I lost. It's like, oh, I should just stop right here. Not like give up the trading career, but like I should just take the month off. Like so, like very short term, I kind of feel like it's way worse than it actually is. And I usually look at like percentages of my month, percentages of my overall capital to like really just logically calm down and just move forward from there.
Yeah, and perspective I think is very important. Like, keeping track of your overall progress, like any one small red day, it might be emotionally devastating. Like you might have been like, I'm so sure about this stock, and then it doesn't play out for whatever reason. Maybe you have a small gain and you didn't take your bigger gain. Like it really messes with your emotions. Yeah. But if you keep everything in check, like, okay, I'm still up on the week, I'm up on the month, I'm up on the year, that helps better. Like Dematia in the challenge chat room just said I was making 20 to 30K a month from December to April. Just figured, let's do this every month forever. Then they lost 2,000 in May. That happens, right? Like you can't say any strategy or any play is going to be forever. So if you're banking, push it. Go with that strategy until it stops working. Like if you watch NFL football teams, like they sometimes call the same play like 3 times in a row. If it works, if you get 3 first downs in a row, keep doing it. Maybe you found a weakness in one player or something like that. But then when it stops working, do another play. It's very similar with this. And you just have to keep trying to push forward. There will be some months where you'll be red. Like, are you devastated that you're red, or are you happy that you're still over 2 million?
As you said earlier, it's a good wake-up call because you can't just be making like $500,000 every month. That's unrealistic.
I mean, certain months are bigger than others. Yeah. And right now, as we're filming this, all of us, if you've been in the market for 2021, like January, February, March, April, like those were the 4 of the best months in a decade, in 2 decades. Yeah. Okay, so you have to have proper perspective. Now, I'm very glad I shared my year 2000 experience. The NASDAQ is still at all-time highs, right? Like, the S&P is at all-time highs. But a lot of the OTC runners, the madness, the volume has dropped 50, 60, 70%. So you can't just say, like, some newbies are like, what are you talking about? It's not that busy. We're at all-time highs. We're not trading the indexes, okay? So it's gotten a little less crazy, and that's good, because frankly, it was getting like absurd. Like literally, like we're like, what is this? Like we're waking up and making like 20, 30, 50K, 100K in a day. Yeah. What was your biggest day in 2021?
It was this last month with AMC, 150,000. Yeah, 157.
And what was your biggest day?
Like 123 back in the February OTC.
My biggest day, I'm more concerned. My biggest day I remember was like 50,000, and like I remember Jack Kellogg was like, "Oh, Sykes, you're getting on up," and I'm like, "Shut the shut up, you newbie! I've been doing this since you were in diapers. Like whatever. I trade conservatively. Get over it." What's your biggest day?
I think it was BTX short over 2 days, 225,000.
You don't count. No. What's your biggest day?
51,000.
51,000. That's cool. AUUD, by the way, is squeezing up nicely.
That's the one.
560 breakout to 615.
Brutal. Wow.
So this is a nice squeeze too. But you got to have the proper perspective. One big day is good, but then it's like, what can you do the next day? Mm-hmm. It's not just about one big day. It's like, can you hold on to it? A lot of people have big one days, but they usually lose it because they're not self-sufficient. They're not meticulous. They believe others. You know, it feels good just to believe everybody. I remember, what was it, CCIV? Or they changed their ticker. They're going to change their ticker. And they're like Lucid Motors, right? And literally, it just, it was shocking how much CCIV collapsed. Can we bring up the CCIV chart, Pascalito? Yes. Good. And it just crashed from 60 down to like the 20 range. And so many people held all the way down. You just don't need to. No different than these kind of little smaller pumps like LTNC went up to literally 9 cents a share, and now it's back down to 1 cent a share. GGII, I was warning about it, and the promoters are like, what are you talking about? This is going to $1. No, it went to 16 cents, now under a penny. Okay, OZSC, so many people say, oh, this is amazing. And it goes from, sub pennies all the way up to 50 cents, now back down to 7 cents. ENZC, oh, we have press releases with Intel. Okay, well, you're down 90 cents down to 20 cents. VPER, what did that get up to? That got up to 7 cents. Hey, that actually bounced a little to 1.3. Props to them. They're only down 90% now. HQGE, remember that one?
Yeah.
That one got up to 6 cents. It's now 2/100ths of a penny. Okay? What was the other one? GTLL was one. This one got up to 3.5 cents. It's now 3/100ths of a penny.
There's HMBL as well.
HMBL,
right?
but this one hasn't dropped as much, right? This is only down 75, 80%.
Darn.
This is an outperformer, okay? ALPP, let's look at this. This one has actually held up. They actually did a $50 million financing. Props to all the ALPP promoters. You guys nailed it. I think it was Proactive Investors. They came out with like a whole PowerPoint presentation. They raised $50 million right at like $9 or $8 a share. Now it's only down 60, 70%. That's the best performer. ABML, remember that one? This one, wow. This one's only down 55%. So that's an outperformer. But the point is, if you hold on to any of these, you're down 55, 60, 70, 75, 80, 90%. You just don't have to be. We traded all of them. Maybe not you. You don't trade OTCs, right?
Trade CYDY.
You traded CYDY. CYDY, right? This one got up to 7, now down to 172. CYDY especially, every time I warned about it, they're like, you're short selling it. I have never short sold CYDY. One time I reposted, Citrin had a report on it. I reposted it, and they're like, Sykes and Citrin are working together, right? And then they used, it was actually pretty amazing. There's a blog post on CYDY, how Sykes created the crash, because I'm theoretically short selling. There's like a whole short mafia. Literally, there's like a picture of alleged short sellers. No, but this is what's crazy. Because they're like, right when Sykes tweeted this was when it crashed. And I was like, no, that's not true. So I was in LA at the time. So West Coast hours, PST. So I tweeted at basically 2 p.m. Eastern. But the person who screenshotted it used the California time. So it said 11 a.m., right? So the stock had crashed at 11 a.m., But that was 11 a.m. Eastern. It would have been 8 a.m. California time. So literally, they're like, look at when it crashed. Sykes shorted it. And I'm like, you're totally misrepresenting my tweet. Like, that's crazy. So I never shorted CYDY. I actually missed the amazing run-up. I did dip buy it. This was one of my biggest dip buys. This was one of your biggest dip buys. Remember June 30th?
June 30th. Yeah.
We to the short selling thing. We had Tim Grattani on Twist right around when that happened.
Yeah.
And in the comment section, there's like, these are the people pushing CYDY down. How could they do something so unethical? And it's just like, yeah, all right, sure.
June 30th, last year. So we're coming up on the anniversary of this.
my biggest trade at the time.
Tim Grattani, biggest trade at the time, roughly $300,000 in profits. He's celebrated by giving a challenge webinar. All you challenge students should watch that webinar from Tim Grattani, June of 2020. It was pretty amazing. Did you trade CYDY?
Oh yeah, I was
shorted
making,
or dip buy?
breakfast when it just panicked.
Yeah. What did you? Were you short?
Yeah, I think I made like 12 grand.
Nice.
12 grand.
That's good. Were you trading it?
I think
You weren't even born yet. You're next.
Did a couple hundred shares.
All right. Let's see. Any last questions? Because we got to get going in a little bit. Oh, someone said repo is bouncing. A little bit. I wouldn't chase a stock that's up 870%, even if it was up 1,400%. Let's see. Here's a good question. Let's all answer this. Let's close on this. How do you find the path again after you lost it all? This person now has 4,000. What do you do to build it back?
Go ahead. You go.
Okay. I was going to say, well, you must have done something right in the beginning if you're trying to find your way back. So I'd go, like, look at what you were doing and, like, what were you doing right? And then from there, try to figure out, what went wrong, because clearly some stuff went wrong in there as well. And sounds simple, obviously, but stop whatever's going wrong and just try to do more of what was doing good. That was pretty high level.
I was like just about to say the same thing. Like, there's something you did right, but obviously you didn't stay right, or you did something wrong. So it's like you have to take what was working and remove. So it's like you could say you were in a hot market, you made a lot of money, but then you had literally, you had zero risk management in that market. So like we just said, with all these stocks going down 70, 80%, like if you just held or you just didn't have any risk management, that's a big problem, and that's probably why you gave it back. I'm not saying, I don't know your individual situation, but that could be a situation for a lot of people. So it's like, take what you know you did right and implement the lessons from what you did wrong, and that's just going to have you steadily start growing back to where you came from.
Yeah, all of you should be tracking your trades, good trades, bad trades on Profitly and spreadsheets in your own diary, whatever it is. And you're trying to maximize the good and minimize the bad. You need to separate it. You need to recognize this is a good pattern for me. This is a bad pattern. That's why trading and experience matters, where it's not just about the money that you guys have made. Now you all have experience. This is how you make 6-7 figures. They kind of have like the cheat code. They know how to do it. So it's like, okay, let's try to find more plays, more patterns, more setups that have made us so wealthy. If we don't have those patterns, then we don't trade them. There's literally tens of thousands of stocks out there. You can trade all day long, random patterns, and you'll get random results. So you really have to fine tune what are you best at. One last question. This goes for everybody. I think this is good. How do you deal with friends and family members who do not like you trading? Man-child.
I don't know. I've kind of gotten to the point where I just tell them to. I just kind of ignore them because I'm just trying to get to this. Yeah, I'm keeping PG. I'm trying to be at a spot in my life where like I'm doing what makes me happy, what I like to do, and if they don't want to accept that, then I don't want them to be around me.
I think everyone just gives you crap about your intelligence or lack thereof.
It's because he takes it well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it just rolls off him. Like literally, like, Pascal and I were saying, like, he's like human Gumby. Like, if you run over Gumby, like Gumby's like made out of rubber, and it's just like you're running him over, and then he's like, hi, how's it going? And then like you run him over again, and he's like, hey, good to see you again. And that's kind of like him, like he just takes it. And this is a compliment, right? Like a lot of people like I can't rip on because they're like, yeah, this is terrible. Yeah. But it's good for you, A, to realize that you're not smart. B, to recognize that that's okay. None of us are that smart. And you can still succeed in life not being that smart.
Yeah, 100%, I guess.
If Bryce can do it, so can you.
If Bryce can do it, so can you. Let this be a lesson, okay? We're going to have Bryce do some basic math equations on camera one time, right? I think this will be fun.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
Yeah, are you smarter than a Brycer? What do you say with friends and family? They didn't even give you crap. You're losing for 3 years?
Well, there's a reason that when I became a millionaire, I just drove to my parents' house. I'm like, hey guys, I'm a millionaire. And they're like, what? There's a reason it was like that.
You said that?
Yeah.
You opened the door and you're like, I'm a millionaire.
Surprise!
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just me trying to figure out trading. It was really nobody's else business to me. So I just wanted to work at it until I figured it out.
I have a different experience because I made too much. I got started during a bubble in 99, 2000. I had too much success right away. But when I got knocked down, when my hedge fund lost roughly 30%, everyone thought I lost 100%. When I got away from my trading rules, I didn't know about cutting losses quickly. I didn't know about liquid stocks versus illiquid stocks. I was due for a loss 2006, 2007. Who was I talking about this with? Somebody who's young. Who was in my car? You.
Me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I was like your age when I had my biggest loss, and I had no risk management whatsoever. I deserved that big loss. But a lot of people doubted that I could get back. They're like, listen, you had a good run, you're done. But I was like, I lost because I broke these rules that I didn't know about that they were so important. Now I have these rules. Going forward, I'll never do that again. And I've never had such a big loss again. So even if you have a big loss in the beginning or a big loss later on and someone tells you you're done, stop this, if you learn the process and you realize, okay, these rules are not optional, like cutting losses quickly, it's not just like a fun thing like, oh, rule number 1, cut losses quickly. I didn't cut losses quickly, I lost everything. Once you start to learn the devastating potential consequences if you ignore those rules, then that would make your parents or your family or any doubter right. But if you follow the rules, if you have a red month, if you lose a little, it doesn't stop you going forward. And if you trade in any amount of time and you track your trades and you find what patterns work best for you, you'll find success. Whether it's year 1, year 2, year 3, year 5. This is why I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Everybody wants to make money. You guys are actually bad examples because of this hot market, because you're becoming like a millionaire year 5, millionaire year 4, millionaire year 5. Well, you're just you. But, I mean, he'll probably be a millionaire.
Lollipop millionaire.
Literally, I'll get him 1 million lollipops to celebrate when he passes $1 million, probably like in year 5 or maybe year 7. Like, let's just give you an extra few years. But still, if you extrapolate that, becoming a millionaire, let's say in 8 years, that's still $125,000 a year in income, even though it's not linear like that, right? Like you made hardly anything or nothing for 3 years. But then year 4, year 5, like 2 million plus. Yep. So you extrapolate that, like you break it down. Okay, there's 5 years, you made 2 million. You're basically making $400,000 a year. But it took you 3 years to make anything. Yeah. So that's how you have to think. Trading is not like I'll make $100,000 a year every year. It's not like a salary job. You don't get a bi-weekly or bi-monthly pay stub. What do you say to friends and family?
My family was pretty supportive. They helped me sign up for the challenge and stuff. But my friends, like anyone who wasn't like on board with that, like we haven't talked probably in years. We're just not friends anymore at this point. So.
Do they know what you've done now?
For a while I was pretty quiet about it.
Is there like a legend when you go back upstate New York and it's like, oh, Matt Monaco's here?
Kind of, yeah.
That's cool.
It's kind of like that. Because I'll throw stuff on my Instagram every now and then. Like, I'm not, like, hardcore flexing on these people, but I'm like, this happened. Like, it's cool.
You're like, oh, upstate New Yorkers, I see you have 1 couch. I got 3.
4.
3.
I bought 1.
You got 4, my bad. I thought you got rid of 1. I got 4, right?
Yes.
So you're going to get, like, a big chain that says 4, like 4 couches.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Whatever works. What about you, Kyle?
Mine was a mix of Bryce and Jack, where for people who I was close with, I told, and most of them were pretty supportive, but the few that weren't, I mean, I kind of just said, all right, like, have fun staying poor, like, the meme, like, I kind of had that confidence in myself, like, I don't really need your validation to do what I want to do that makes me happy. But then to Jack's point, like, to maybe people were, like, more acquaintances, maybe still friends, but like, people I didn't talk to as much, they might have asked what I've been up to, and I totally diverted, like, mentioning anything about trading, because it just wasn't a business. Like, I don't need to tell the whole world what I'm doing, what I'm working on, because again, the majority of them are gonna be like, "Oh, good luck with that." I knew what the response was going to be, so I didn't even waste my time.
So long story short, like you focus on the strategy, you focus on learning, you focus on doing what you have to do, and you tune out the noise.
Yeah.
Right? You accept people who support you, you accept people who don't support you, but you can't let it affect you. If you learn, if you witness this stuff, I know you might be skeptical in the beginning. I don't mind. I'm not like offended. But just try it if you start seeing it. You start seeing these guys, and now Mariana, my first female millionaire student, you start seeing this more and more. Like, we're not paid actors. I would hire a smarter actor than somebody who can't even use like 3 or 4 syllable words. Like, literally, someone said like Tim Grittani is like a paid actor. Like, I don't know if you've seen Tim Grittani on camera. Like, that's not an actor I would ever hire, okay? Like, unless like you're applying for the role, like most awkward person ever on camera. Hi, I'm Tim Grittani, right? Here's my Snoopy shirt. Like, he'll admit it. We're just gonna be real with you. 90% of traders do lose, but they're using the wrong strategy. They're not cutting losses quickly. Frankly, if you're looking at OTCs and you're not seeing the patterns after 3, 4, 5 years, like I teach some pretty not smart people, right? Like you don't have to be the sharpest tool in the shed here. Steven Johnson, Bryce, like, you know, stuff like that. Like that.
Just compared to Steven Johnson.
What do you mean? No, they're 2 separate people.
They're in the same bucket now.
Well, I mean, they're pretty much. If it was like a chess match, like Steven Johnson versus Bryce. It would be an interesting game. That would be like, what was that chess TV show?
No,
on,
we need to play checkers. Are you kidding me? We're not good at
What?
chess.
Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, it's like the opposite. It would be like whatever the opposite of queen
Pawn's
is.
Gambit.
Yeah, it would be like Pawn's Gambit.
Steven Johnson, if you're listening to this, we're playing a game of checkers together.
I don't even. Checkers
Didn't
is
switch
still
from chess
can
to
still be
checkers.
complicated. I would do. What's like the simple?
Tic-tac-toe.
What's the
Tic-tac-toe,
simplest?
there we go. Tic-tac-toe, I challenge
Yeah, but you need to get 3 in a row. That's you can only count up to 2. Like that's tough. You'd be like, I win. No, that's 2 in a row, Bryce. We have fun with this, okay? You gotta have fun with this. Seriously, like intelligence is not required here, as evidence exhibit A. Like it's fine, it's okay. He's human Gumby. Hi guys, literally run him over. He'll be fine. It doesn't matter. It just bounces off. He doesn't even understand half the jokes you make about him. Anyways, this has been a good twist. Thank you all for joining. Congratulations. Thanks for being a good sport. We're just gonna keep going. You know. Stay humble, take it trade by trade, size down in the summer. I think this is very important. Like, This is not a one-time thing where it's like, oh, the summer is slower. There's a saying, sell in May and go away. Statistically, June, July, August are the 3 slowest months of the year. Enjoy it. Go out, work out a little bit, you know, study more, get ready for the perfect plays. I mean, pretty crazy today. Repo, as we're filming this, is up. You know, it was up 1,300%. Now it's consolidated and it's only up 840%. But still, like this is a crazy market. You just got to find what patterns work for you and take it trade by trade. Leave a comment below. Thank and congratulate all these guys. We need more female students too. It doesn't matter. It's all up to your dedication. Have a good one. Twist out.